I'm the Director of Sales for Mailing Solutions here at Satori Software. I came to Satori in 2011, just before the partnership between SAP and Satori was announced. Prior to that, I spent 10 years at First Logic in a variety of roles, mainly as an account manager. It's quite possible I've even worked with a few of you on the call today in some capacity during my tenure at First Logic. Joining me today is Randy Walker, a solutions engineer here with Satori Software. And Randy has been with Satori Software now for about 8 years. He started out in technical support and spent 3 years there before becoming a solutions engineer. As a solutions engineer, Randy is an integral part of the sales team. He takes the lead on many product demonstrations. He works on proof of concepts. He helps in any way that he can in the pre-sales process. And as you'll soon find out here today during the demo, Randy is a valuable technical resource for us here at Satori. Also on the line with us today is Jim Golden from Technical Support. Jim is here to help answer questions throughout the webinar today. With that said, I just want to invite you to feel free to use the box on the right side of your screen to send any questions to us at any time throughout the webinar, and we'll do our best to answer those questions today. Several of those could be answered via text by Jim. So. Let's take a quick look at the schedule for today's webinar. We'll start today's call with an introduction to Satori Software. I'm not going to spend a lot of time there. I know you're all here for one main thing today, and that is to learn, how am I going to transition from Postalsoft to Satori. So the focus of today's webinar is centered on just that topic, helping you make that transition from the Postalsoft desktop mailer or business edition product to Satori Software's bulk mailer. If you're here today but you have not decided for sure if bulk mailer is the appropriate fit for your company, I welcome you also. I hope by viewing today's training that you'll make the decision to move forward with bulk mailer and let us help you during this important transition. Then I'll go over some key terms and a few side-by-side comparisons, screenshots. Then Randy will deliver the live training of bulk mailer. I'll wrap things up discussing some extended resources that are available to you before a Q&A session at the end. First and foremost, let me welcome you all to Satori Software. We are very excited to have Postalsoft DTM and BE users that have decided on bulk mailer to handle their mailing needs. I, for one, am very excited as I've worked with customers like yourselves for over 13 years while I was at First Logic, and I've enjoyed rekindling some of those relationships here at Satori. Satori is a company that truly cares about your business and the mailing industry. I realize this can be a stressful time with full service requirements just around the corner, the end of the year quickly approaching with the end of life of the Postalsoft desktop products. You've grown accustomed to those over all these years. I just want you to know that Satori is here to help you with this transition in any way we can. Now, this may be a bit of a surprise to some, but Satori has actually been delivering mailing solutions for over 30 years now. We have over 5,000 customers using bulk mailer. In 2009, Satori was acquired by Neopost, in my opinion, further solidifying our commitment to the mailing industry. Satori continues to invest in mailing technologies, not only through acquisition but also ongoing development. We actively develop our product set. Last year, we acquired the SAP Postalsoft pre-sort engines and also Monticello software, a leading post-pre-sort software package. Satori is an advocate for mailers with the USPS. Several of our staff are heavily involved in industry organizations like MTAC, Postcom, ID Alliance, and AMSP. We think about our customers, and we design with you in mind. Who is using the software, how do you use it, and what is it used for? Now, before Randy gets into the training, I just want to discuss some of the differences in the Postalsoft desktop products and bulk mailer. Now, bulk mailer and the Postalsoft desktop products accomplish the same common goals, and that's produce pre-sort mailings for maximum discounts. How these products are designed and the terminology do vary slightly, but the end results are the same. For example, a job in Postalsoft is referred to as a mailing in bulk mailer. So here on the screen right now is just a side-by-side comparison of some of the common tasks and how they relate to each other between the two products. I'm not going to go through all of these in detail, but you can see at a quick glance that it's pretty intuitive. I'd like to begin sharing some side-by-side screenshots of Bulk Mailer and the Postalsoft desktop products. In Bulk Mailer, all of the jobs are referred to as mailings and are visible directly on the home screen. So instead of opening a job in Postalsoft, you simply double-click on a specific mailing in Bulk Mailer that you want to work with. These can all be nicely organized by company or however you'd like to designate them, but it gives you a nice clear view of all the mailings you've worked with or created in the past. And of course, you can also have the option of creating a new mailing here as well. Bulk Mailer refers to field mapping during the import process. On the left, you can see the Bulk Mailer screen where you use a visual chain link icon to display the mapped fields on the left with the column names on the right. On the right side of the screen here is the screen that you're all familiar with Postalsoft, which uses lines to link these fields together. Transitioning to Bulk Mail in regards to the address correction settings should be relatively simple, as the options here are very similar between the two products. DPV, LaxLink, SweetLink are industry standards for CAS and are performed by default with Bulk Mailer. All the other settings for address correction can be found here as well, including casing, dual address options, suffixes, unique unit designator, and more. Pre-sort functionality in both Postalsoft Desktop and Bulk Mailer uses a step-by-step approach to selecting the appropriate options for a mailing. Satori's pre-sort is very intuitive and guides you through the specs to keep you in compliance with the DMM. Randy will go over the pre-sort section in good detail during the training. Here's a quick look at one of the reports that is generated out of Bulk Mailer. As you can see on the left here, Satori's Bulk Mailer reporting engine produces easy-to-read PDFs. Lastly, I just want to give you a quick look at the label designer in Bulk Mailer. As with the Postalsoft desktop products, you get an easy-to-use visual editor to design your labels. The purpose of showing some of these side-by-side screenshots is basically just to help you get comfortable with the transition from the Postalsoft desktop products to Bulk Mailer. Although different, all the core elements are there. It's simply a matter of learning how to do it in Bulk Mailer versus the Postalsoft desktop. Based on feedback from our first training webinar that we held, we've started a format where Randy has both Business Edition and Bulk Mailer running. And we're going to show you both, what you're familiar with today and then how to do it in Bulk Mailer. So I hope you find today's training helpful. Without further ado, I'm going to turn things over to Randy Walker.
Thank you, Mike, and hello, everyone. I wanted to start off by getting everybody familiar with the Bulk Mailer home screen. On the home screen, there's some key pieces of information here, such as this middle section, which is any of the bulk mailings that are open, or I should say Bulk Mailer mailings that you have that you can open right here on the home screen. Any of the other sections in this navigation bar, which I'll get to in a minute, are templates that can be applied to any of those mailings that you have open, or as you're familiar with them, it's called jobs. Down here in the status pane, this is where you can come to reprint any of the reports that are available to you in Bulk Mailer. And I'll show you that as well moving forward through the demo. And again, this navigation bar here is a linear approach on all the steps that you're going to need in order to complete a mailing within Bulk Mailer. This data details pane down here, this is a key component to Bulk Mailer, and it's visible in any of the different sections within Bulk Mailer. This is going to reflect what the current count is, which is any of the records that you are going to affect with any of the tasks. Group, which is how you can do a record select in order to select a subset of the total count of any mailing that you have open. And down here you'll see that right now I don't have any mailing open, so it says none. So to get started in Bulk Mailer, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this new mailing wizard. But before I do that, I'm going to switch back over to Postalsoft and do the same thing here within Bulk Mailer, or I'm sorry, Postalsoft. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new mailing. Let's call it Demo 1. Hit next. You're used to defining your record lengths or your field lengths here and which fields you want to include within your Postalsoft file. Bulk mailer works slightly different, and I'll show you that here in a second. I'm going to go ahead and hit Finish, and now you'll see you're at the record view like you're used to within Postalsoft. I'm going to go back to bulk mailer, and I'm going to do the same thing within bulk mailer. So I click on the new mailing wizard. I'm going to go ahead and click Next. I have an option to create a blank bulk mailer file here, or I can use an existing import template, and I'll talk about templates in more detail as well. So to keep it simple, I'm just going to create a new blank bulk mailing file. It'll give it a date and timestamp by default, and you'll notice I didn't get a section in order to define the field length because bulk mailer will auto-increment the field size depending on the longest data within any of the fields you're importing. Okay, so it's added another line item here to the home screen, and you'll see down here that it's reflected as being open under the mailing section, and there's 0 records in there. So now I'm going to go ahead and import records in here by going down the navigation bar, and any of the sections from here on out from the home screen are templates or what you call load plan information that can be applied to any mailing that you have open at any given time. So back here in Postalsoft, I'm going to go ahead and import data. Let me just pick a file, and I'm going to go ahead and import the same mailing. I'll just go ahead and do a comma delimited demo list. I'll click Next. I'll click Next. I have to remap these because they didn't get mapped quite correctly, so let's take 1 second here. Okay, so now that I've got the fields mapped correctly here, I'm going to go ahead and hit Finish. One of the fields were longer, so it's going to truncate it, so I'm going to just go ahead and say OK to that. And now it's imported those records in there, which you can see reflected right here, either with your list view or your record view. In bulk mailer, how we accomplish the same thing is we're just going to go ahead and double-click on the import wizard, and I'll select that same file. So that was this comma delimited demo list. And then I'll click Next. Bulk mailer is now evaluating that data, determining field lengths for the whole thing, and what type of format that file is in. So it's a delimited file, it's a comma delimited, it uses the double quote, and so down here you're seeing a clean preview of the data and how we're about to import it in. When I click Next, now we get to that mapping screen, which is similar to what you're used to within Postalsoft. And so now I'm just going to associate from the source file to the bulk mailer field, so first name to first name, and I can click Map. You'll also notice that there's a source column over here, and now it's linked to column 1. So if I'm unsure what a field is, I can hover over it, and it will give me the first 15 rows in that field. So I'm going to associate last name to last name, business to business, and then I can scroll down. And I can leave any of these fields unmapped if I'd like. If I have extraneous data that I don't want to map in, I can leave that unmapped, and it will still map everything else that has a chain link correctly. So now lastly, I'm going to map the city, state, and zip code, and then click Next. And I can save this as a new template in bulk mailer, or what you would refer to as a load plan. So I'm just going to call it Demo 1. And click Finish. At this point, it's imported the records into my list. And how do I know if it's imported in? Down here, the current count is at 2010. Also, in the navigation bar here, I can go to the View section, and I can click on either a list view or a detailed record view. Or if I don't see one on the list I like, I can click on that new list view wizard and create a custom view. So in here I can quickly see that everything is mapped correctly, and I'm ready to continue on with the address quality piece. So as you're used to in Postalsoft, you would go to this correct addresses. It's going to ask me to make a backup, but I'll just say no to this. And you have all your various options for standardization and how you want those addresses formatted. Let's go ahead and click out of that, go back into bulk mailer, and show you down here in the address quality section that we have address correction. It's very similar. You have all of the same options available to you. One of the things I do want to point out is bulk mailer comes with an unlimited move update or option to where you can run through the NCOA database, and it will also apply address correction in one shot, rather than having to go to extended services and run your moves update through either Lorton or Peachtree. It's integrated right in. So rather than do address correction, then move update, I'm just going to do move update in one step. So I click on the move update section here, and I'll go ahead and log in. I'll click next on the welcome screen. I'll log in here. And now I get to my matching logic. Individual, business, and family is going to search for all moves possible. We have business and individual. I can limit it down my search if I like. However, this first option is going to search for all moves possible through the NCOA link database. Multiple name input. So if I had two names, a husband and a wife, I wanted to search on a common last name or all last names found, I can define that down here. I'll click next. Satori Software is a full service provider of the NCOA link data. So we'll go back the full 48 months. If for some reason you didn't want to go back that 48 months, you could limit it down to a specific number of months. Class of mailing, all really does cover all, or you could limit it down for first class mailing. However, all is kind of just a catch-all general option. This review new addresses, we have the ability to either review the new addresses that it has found, or we can skip them and automatically move all or accept all the moves. So I'm just going to go ahead and show for the demonstration purpose. And now we get to the address correction formatting options. So here's all the address standardization that's going to get applied with CAS and the delivery point validation functionality of move update. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this, and what it's going to do is it's going to connect to our move update servers. It's going to encrypt the records. It's going to do a real-time data stream through the NCOA link database and round trip them back into bulk mailer in real time. And you'll see that happen right here. It's counting up the statistics. It's found 21 new addresses and 2 unavailable addresses. Here is the review window. You can see the original address, after +4, the new address, what type of move it was, and when they'd moved and the name used. So I could go through accepting one individually, or I can accept them all and update my database. At this time, if I wanted to print the reports, I could print them right here, or I could preview them on the screen. So here's your CAS summary report, and then your NCOA link processing summary report. And so you see the totals reflected here on a PDF rather than a text-based report. So I'm going to go ahead and close that. And now I've just ran through the extended services, or what we call move update, for satisfying the move requirements from the post office. I'm going to switch back over to Postalsoft, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to search for duplicates. And so in here, you can define how you're used to doing the search for duplicates here. So what I'm going to do is click next, and then you can load any of your rulebook plans here. And I won't continue on through this, but what I will do is I will cancel and go back into bulk mailer and show you our duplication search, which it works in pretty much the same fashion, except for it's working off of this one list here. If you want, you can import multiple lists into the same file, and I'll show you some of the criteria in here that you can use to identify priority on those. So here's the duplication search. We call them templates rather than rule books. You can use one of the predefined ones, or you can create your own on the fly. I'm going to go ahead and use a predefined one that I've defined earlier, which is demo. If I don't like some of the criteria that's selected, I could simply just modify it to use any of the criteria that I would like. By default, we'll give you these 6 fields that you can use to search for duplicates. And then on this next screen here, here's where you can use up to additional 4 fields that you can either import into user text fields. So if you have a account number that you want to bring in with this, or some type of identifier for each individual record, you can import that information during the import process into a user-defined field. Here's where you can define your priority. We have creation date oldest first. So if I was to import in more than one list, I could either keep the records by the first list that I've imported in or the last list I've imported in. And then I can use the modification date as well. So I have a couple different options on how to sort the records and make the top record be the one I want to keep. Group actions, I can delete all the records that I find is a duplicate, or I can mark the records depending on if I wanted to use our group section, which groups is your record select or what you're used to record select, to grab a subset of the records out of the list. So we have a marked record field that you can use. Apply action to all but first record and group will keep one unique record for any groups that it has found as duplicate. And the group is 2 or more records that are the same. I could delete all the records in the group or only the first record in the group and keep any subsequent records that is found as a duplicate. I'll go ahead with all but the first record in the group, click next. I could save this template, update it, or I could give it a new name. I'm just going to go ahead and save it and finish. At this point, it's running through the duplicates. It's found one. Again, a group is 2 or more records that it has found as a duplicate based off the criteria I've selected. I'm going to go ahead and process this group and close. Now you'll notice down here in the data details, it's 1 record less because I have deleted that record out of the list. So what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to go back to through the Postalsoft file, and I'm going to talk about doing the records select. So this is the record select is how you'll define a filter or criteria in order to target a subset of records that you want to target. In bulk mailer, we use this group section here. And so with the group section, we have defined templates that are available for you. Or if you don't see one in the list, you can create a new customized filter or record select criteria here, which we refer to as groups. So one of the things I want to show here is all move update records. So I'm going to target the ones that I just found as move update records, and now it's telling me that there's 23 records that have been selected by this group. I'm going to go ahead and say yes, and then again I'm pointing back down to this data details to show that I'm in the all move update records group, and there's only 23 records in my current count. So I can come back to the view section here. I can view those 23 records. If I wanted to update maybe my records, I can export those out in any format that I can import in. And I'll go over that in a little bit further detail later. I just wanted to clearly show an example of groups and how you can use groups to filter a subset of records out of a big list. So I'm going to go back to the all active records group and say yes. Underneath the data quality section, I talked about the duplication search. We also have merge purge, which can take multiple lists and do inclusions and exclusions again. That's a complete section all in itself, so I'll skip over that for this demo. But I do want to talk about data services. Data services is where you can go in and you can append additional data to a record, such as you have access to walk sequence append, apartment append. We have a suppression suite available there as well. So you can get additional data outside of the USPS there. So I've talked about the groups. Next thing I want to go into is the mail sort. So I'm going to go back into Postalsoft, and I'm going to bring up the sort for mailing section, which you're all familiar with. I'm going to go ahead and load this plan so it brings this up. Click Next. Define any of the mailing attributes here within Postalsoft. In bulk mailer, we have the same type of attributes that can be applied to a mailing. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click through the mailing wizard and show you those attributes. When I was just loading the plan within Postalsoft, that's the same thing as these templates here. All those attributes can be saved and stored as a template. So if you have reoccurring mailings, all you have to do is just double-click on one of these templates, and it will load all of the attributes for that mailing for you. So I'll go through here and just kind of create one, show you a walkthrough of our standard wizard. So I'm going to pick a standard machinable letter. We also support any of the first class, periodicals. We also do some package services if you're doing any of the irregular parcels or such. If you're unsure what type of mail piece you have, we give you this nice legend here that you can quickly look at and see if you fit into the minimums and maximums of that either letter or flat. Here's where you can define your piece width, height, and thickness. If you're doing mixed weight mailings, this is where you can come to do your mixed weight mailings as well. If you don't know the size of your envelope, you can click on the mailing envelope there, and it will plug in the width and height for you automatically. So I'm going to go ahead and click Next. Define your mail drop zip code, the mailing date. If you have a job ID, you can enter that here, as well as a statement number. Pick your permit down below. You can create a new permit if you'd like for a customer there. Your eDocs, your mail.dat information, it gets entered in here. The version, you'll want to pick which version it is. We will always support up to one version back and the latest version possible. Here's where you're going to define your sort levels. We have various different sort levels available. It's a drip system, so any of the pieces that don't qualify for the first level of sorts, we'll try for the second level of sort and subsequently the third level of sort. I was using pallets. Here's where I come to select pallets. Documentation, here's where I come in to say any of the carrier route sequencing that was done and the date. Doing itemized manifesting, any of the advanced features for the documents needed at the post office in order to complete an automated mailing as well as full service mailing. The next screen here is our intelligent mail settings. There's a couple of different options on here I wanted to talk about. Here's where you could select what type of address change service you wanted to utilize. Select the full service, and what we will do is we have the ability to automatically make sure that your sequence numbers in the barcode are unique for that 45 days based off your mailer ID and classic mailing. Easy Track is a way that you can track your mail through the confirmed service through the post office directly within our software. So not only do you have the ability to utilize the confirmed service, but we also have the ability to upload, let's say, an account number, so you can look up an individual piece number through that confirmed service, or what we call Easy Track, which is our flavor of it. You can do any of these: business and address, contact name, or a custom field, and I give the example of an account number. So I'm just going to go ahead and uncheck that for this mailing. I'm going to click Next. Okay, on this screen here is the eligibility discounts for standard mail. Here's where I can come in and select any of the eligibility discounts. Plant verified drop shipment, if you're doing plant verified drop shipment, that's here. I can go ahead and select the facilities. One of the unique things about bulk mailers, we have this analyzed list. So I can quickly come in here, analyze list, and get a total of the weight and the pieces that are going to be going to each drop, and I can make an educated decision if I want to take mail to a facility in case I've got an abundance of mail going there, based off of how far away it is and such. So I'm going to go ahead and click Next. This is just for the meter permit that I have selected. We have the ability to calculate the minimum postage. Lastly is the intelligent mail container section. Here's where you define what your intelligent mail containers look like, any of your mailer information that's going to get placed on those mailings. I can set this as a new template, and then I can use this for recurring mailings. Let's call this Demo 1 and finish. Okay. At this point, it's going through, it's going to sort my mail, produce me any of the paperwork that's necessary, and some that's recommended. So what I want to do is I want to preview this, or I could just save it as a PDF or print it. This mail sort summary is an unofficial report that bulk mailer will generate where it has all of the attributes selected for this mailing. Here's the second page of that. And now we're getting into the postage statement. I had nonprofit checked, so it's applying the nonprofit. It's giving me a 3602 nonprofit form. The second page of that. The third page for the non-automation. The qualification report. Essentially, this is your blueprint of your mailing. Second page of that. Third. This report is another unofficial report. This is our container listing report. This is who you give to the fulfillment people who's trained your mailing. They can see what type of prep is needed, what type of container in the destination. Second page of that. And now we get into the container labels. Here's their intelligent mail container labels. There's a few pages of those as well. And so I'm going to go ahead and close these at this time and save my mail.dat files if I want. If I want to save tray labels as a different file. Mail pieces, you have the ability to come in here and print directly through here. I'm going to keep it separate. That's in the print mail section. And I'm just going to go ahead and close this mailing. You'll notice down here, or that wizard, you'll notice down here in the group section, I'm in the last pre-sort results. Before I move on, I wanted to talk about there is another way to do pre-sorting within Bulk Mailer, and it's a one-click step approach. So I right-click on this mail sort wizard, and I can use this power wizard here. Now when I open up the power wizard, I have every attribute that we just walked through on that step-by-step wizard available within one click. So I could select the appropriate options here and then click OK, and it would go through sorting my mail just like it did previously. Go ahead and cancel this. So now you go to the print label section. Here's where you can go ahead and print your labels. I didn't sort them, so I can just open up an or design here. But within Bulk Mailer, the way you do that is a linear approach. You click on the print mail section of the navigation bar, and now you can either create a new print mail wizard or use one that you've already have set up. I'm going to go ahead and create a new one and then show you what one that's already set up looks like. I'm going to click Next. We have three options here. We have labels. This is where if you were printing just regular label sheet or continuous, you could define what your labels look like. You can define postcards here, cut, stack order. That's all available there. Envelopes, graphical output. If you're printing directly onto the envelope, that's the appropriate option. Envelopes, plain text output. If you have any VideoJet printers or you just need a plain text output type template, you would select that option. I'm going to go ahead and click Next. Satori software generates, or we author, a lot of the common printer drivers out there. So what you're going to do is you're going to select the appropriate printer from the top here, which will be a driver that you have installed on your computer. And then you pick the appropriate printer down on the list here. In this case, it's a direct impression printer. It's got a fixed head, 1.5 inches high. I'm going to go ahead and click Next. I can select what type of envelope I'm using. In this example, I was using a number 10. So I'm going to go ahead and click Next to that. And now how am I going to define that address block? I'm going to use an address block with a barcode at the very least, or I could put an endorsement line on there. For this example, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and click Next. And I can give this a new template. So I can just call this probably RENA. And I'll call it RENA 1 and finish. At this point, I get a what you see is what you get type printing solution. And what this is I only have 1.5 inches of printable area, so I only see the 1.5 inches. I can preview it here, which will show me what it's going to look like as it gets printed out. I'll move this over a little bit more. Let's say I wanted to add additional fields here. So the way I'm going to add additional fields is I'm going to double-click on the address block, and that'll make it to where I can type in here, or I can add fields. So I could put static text by just typing in there. Maybe I want to put Dear Mr. or to the family behind the full name. But I'm going to keep it simple and just add a database field. So up here we have this capital A, lowercase a with a chain link. I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and then select down right in front of the endorsement line. And the fields I want to add here are the sort position, which is a 1, 2, 3 order of how my mail is sorted and should be in the trays. And the second one I want to add is I put a star in there, so it's got a static asterisk. And the second one I want to put in is the tray number, so I know what tray this goes into in case there's a mix-up or I need to go back and reprint. I have all that available information on the mail piece. So now when I preview this, you'll see it starts at piece 1-1. I can turn it around and start from the end of the mailing and go to the beginning, and that's available right up here. And as I scroll through, you'll see it counting down and then the tray numbers will increment once we get to the end of the tray as well. So I'm going to go ahead and close this template. Now that I have showed you how to create one, I'm going to save it, say yes. And now I'm going to open up a different template. So this template right here is a laser or inkjet type template. So this is a number 10 envelope again, and it has the endorsement line. You can put static text on this information, any extraneous information that you want, your permit or your indicia information, and it will print just like it appears on the screen right here. Now, if I didn't want to use bulk mailer to print, I could export this out in any format I want, which is what I'm about to do now. And I'm going to do it in that group called the last pre-sort results. And so when I do the record select in Postalsoft, it's similar to the groups where now I'm in sorted order based off of the criteria selected, the last pre-sort results. So in the import-export section here, I do have a mail merge template set up already. However, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a new template that can be applied to any mailing I have open, again, in order to show you how to create an export template. So I'm just going to use the default export files. It's going to give it a name and timestamp. However, if I wanted to, I could come and define where I want it to be saved to and what format I want it to be saved out as. So we have various different file formats. I'm just going to stick with the delimited text and hit save. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and click next. And we get this mapping screen again. It's exactly in reverse from what import does. So you're going to select which fields you want to create the file with. Somebody's business, address, city, state, zip code. But now I want additional information. I'm going to do a mail merge, so I want to take that intelligent mail barcode out. I also want to take probably the sort position and tray number. Any field that you want to select out, you can. So tray number. Again, this was for a mail merge. If I wanted to do this for any of my moved records, I have the original address and the new address available to me. So I can bring out the original address, what was submitted to the move, any of the moved fields. Whatever I selected fields is what it's going to export out for me. So here's a data preview. We have the option to output the first row as field names. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. Click next. And now I can save this as a new template. I'll just call it Demo 1 and click Finish. It's exported those records out in sorted order because of the group down here. Again, that data details is very important. It'll let you know what's going on with the file at any given time. So now that I've exported out for a mail merge, I've showed you how to print. The next thing I want to do is talk about the Submit section within Bulk Mailer. Here's where you can submit electronic documentation directly to Postal One, including mail.xml and mail.dat. So I could go through this wizard, put in my Postal One information, and send it directly to Postal One for satisfying the full service requirements. I talked about EasyTrack and the confirm service and how we utilize it within Bulk Mailer. This section here, this track, this is where you can come in and you can either see a complete preview of the mailing and see delivery scans as they're going through and time it took to get delivered. Or with our EasyTrack Complete, you can launch this, which will take you into a website where you can log into, and you can generate custom reports. You can get very granular with the Complete. You can even do a single piece lookup based off of any of the things that you uploaded, account number, the intelligent mail barcode, ID, or name and business, as I showed you in the wizard. The last thing I want to talk about is this job builder here. What job builder will allow you to do is achieve a level of information, or I should say automation, within Bulk Mailer. So if I have customers with reoccurring jobs, I can go through all of the steps that I have currently, creating templates for all of those, and then I can create a job that will link all of these templates together in order to automate the processing of that job. So now what I can do is I can open up one of these jobs here and show you what I'm talking about. So the task, create mailing. I'm just going to generate a unique mailing. I'm going to import the demo list, which under the import-export section, there's a template called demo list. I'm going to run the move update process. I'm going to group the records. I'm going to do a mail sort and a print lastly in this job. So if I click on new task, I can come through and I can create any new task I want. So let's create an export records task. I'm going to go ahead and click next. Here's all of those templates that I have available. And again, template is like loading a plan or loading information within Postalsoft. So I can go ahead and export out using the XYZ marketing template, which will export file in that format, in that fashion. So I'm going to go ahead and click Finish. And now I've just created an export task. So when I run this, it's going to go through all of those steps and then report to me at the end that it has been completed. And I can run this job immediately, or I can save it and do not run. And that way, the next time I come in, somebody can just right-click on it and say run this, and it will complete all of the tasks that I have defined within the templates for any of the various sections within bulk mailer. And at this time, I'm going to go ahead and conclude the demonstration portion of this webinar and hand the control back over to Mike. Mike?
All right. Yep, I'm here. Thanks, Randy. Let me just grab control back here. All right. Here we go. So I want to wrap things up today by emphasizing the training and support that you'll experience from Satori software. There are two key areas on our website. The first is at www.satorisoftware.com/support. In the support area, you will be able to find tech notes and express demos. Express demos cover a single action or topic within bulk mailer. They can be a great help when you want to go over something specific. You can also click on online classes in our support area. You'll have a variety of recorded sessions and the ability to sign up for a live session. Satori does provide training sessions every Tuesday and Friday by our support team. These are available to our customers at no additional charge. So we do offer free training on bulk mailer every week directly from our support staff. You can find the schedule for these and sign up for them right from our support page. Another resource available to you in the support area is the ability to submit a feature request. You know, we want your feedback. We value your feedback on what you need in mailing software. We encourage you to submit feature and enhancement requests in this area online in our support area. Another important resource for you is our Learn section of the website. This can be found at satorisoftware.com/learn. Here you'll be able to click on webinars, and you'll be presented with all the upcoming webinars. I see two good ones coming up. I took a look at it this morning, one in October covering full service. There's a webinar scheduled for November 6th about the 2014 price increase. So a couple of good webinars coming up if you want to sign up for those. You can also find all the archive sessions there as well. For example, this very webinar that we're on right now will be available there for a replay here shortly thereafter we complete here. Another great resource, something new that we're providing here from Satori Software, is our full-service training program. With the full-service requirements just around the corner, this is a critical topic on everyone's mind. Satori has put together a training program on full service. This is custom training. It's intended for Satori Software customers. There's this customized version for each of our product lines. So whatever version of bulk mailer you have, there's a specific customized class for full service training. More information can be found by visiting our website. There's actually a link here. It's rather long. I'll try and copy and paste this into the chat area while we're going through some of the questions and answers if you want to get on there and visit that. So I'd like to cover some Q&A. You do have a box to the right there. You can enter your questions. Jim has been doing a great job throughout the webinar here of getting back to people's questions. He's been replying via the text area there. You can also contact Satori support at that email address there, support@satorisoftware.com. There's also a toll-free number that you can call for support. So now I'd like you to just take some time here. We'll let some questions populate here, and we'll get some answers for you live. Just kind of looking through here to see if there's any that we can answer for you that Jim hasn't already gotten. Got a question here just popped up. I had mentioned the new online training. What is the cost of the online classes? It does vary depending on what product you have. You know, we've put a lot of effort into these online classes. It's several chapters long. It covers, you know, full service from the beginning of it, the history of full service, all the way to how to use it in a specific product. It covers the whole TEM process and getting set up on the customer gateway and everything. I believe Bulk Mailer Professional, I think, is in the $249 area, $249 for that online training. You can sign up and register, and you would not get in there to see the package pricing until you register. So once you register for it, then you'll be able to get in there and see the different courses. You know, based on what product you have, you can see the prices, and then you'd simply add those to your cart and pay for it with a credit card. So you can certainly go in there and register and kind of look around a little bit, get some more information before you'd have to pay for it. All right, so we've got some questions filing in here. I'm going to give Jim a chance to maybe type in a response to some of these. Also, Randy, if you see any of these popping up, feel free to grab one and answer it out loud here. Here's a question about full service. Is the full service capabilities included with Bulk Mailer, specifically with the ability to create a mail.dat? Absolutely. Bulk Mailer Professional and Bulk Mailer Business full service mailings can be completed using either mail.dat or mail.xml. Bulk Mailer standard customers can create a mail.xml file.
I see one here. It says how to create a new column field on Bulk Mailer. There is a file up in the File menu, File Manage User-Defined Records. That's how not only can you create new columns, but you can also define what those columns are named. See another one here. It says, am I able to import my own unique IDs to generate the IMB? We do have the ability to use a user-defined field to use the sequence portion of the Intelligent Mail Barcode. Yes, you would import that into a user-defined field in the Mail Sort Wizard. There's an option to use that field, and you'll select the appropriate field. Another one I see here is what if I need to import 10 date fields? Can Bulk Mailer handle this? And the answer to that is yes. We have a Bulk Mailer Professional, or we also have a Bulk Mailer Business that will allow you to create many more user-defined fields than Bulk Mailer Professional will allow you to do. And so if you need to produce more than the 20 fields that are available in Professional, that's where the Business will be the better fit for you.
I see a question coming up here a couple times about people that have an NCOA subscription currently to Lorton. Will they still be able to use Lorton for Move Update once they begin using Bulk Mailer? We do not have a direct interface built with Lorton inside of Bulk Mailer. You may have the ability there to export the data, send it to Lorton for processing, and then get it back. The other option would be to consider moving your NCOA processing to Satori. As Randy mentioned, we are a full-service provider. We can do it all within the product here, and we have very competitive pricing on the NCOA. As a matter of fact, you may want to talk with your dealer or sales rep. There may be some competitive situation there, or I mean an upgrade situation where we can just basically maintain your existing cost to move you over to Satori. So it just depends on where you're at with your expiration date with them and when you get signed up for Bulk Mailer. But certainly talk to your sales rep or dealer about moving your NCOA over to us. I'm sure they'll be happy to help you with that.
Another good one I see here is the error stat field within Postalsoft. And does Bulk Mailer have an equivalent to that? Bulk Mailer does. It's called the error code. It also has a related field called error description, which will give you a human-readable description of what has happened or what is wrong with that address. A good example of this is missing apartment information. You can identify those, use groups, and then with our data services, or what you're used to as extended services, we have an apartment append there that you can use to clean those records up that you've identified as having a missing apartment number directly within bulk mailer. Does bulk mailer support manifest mailings? Yes, absolutely. We do mixed weight mailings, as Jim has mentioned to everyone. I'm not sure if you're reading the comments or questions, but I wanted to make sure I answered that one out loud. Yes.
All right. Jim's doing a great job of getting responses typed back to a lot of people here. Randy's doing a great job of fielding some of these. Randy, one just came in there about determining field length during import. I don't know if you can answer that one.
Yes, as the records are being imported into bulk mailer, if it runs beyond the defined length, it will auto-increment to the maximum size that it can, 255 characters, which will, at that point, if you have longer than that, then we have a notes field as well.
All right, I think we've done a great job at fielding a lot of these different questions. If you do have, some of these we will certainly get back to you after the webinar, everyone. If you had a question in here and we have not addressed it, or you've not gotten an answer back from Jim in the text area, we'll certainly take these back and try and follow up with you after the webinar to get all your questions answered. So please, again, the other option is to, if you do have questions, specific, operating questions on the software, feel free to contact support. I'm going to go to our last slide here. And we'll kind of conclude here. We just wanted to thank you for attending today's webinar. We certainly appreciate your time. I hope this has been beneficial for everyone. As I mentioned, a replay of this session will be available under the Learn section of our website. We'll try and get that posted as soon as we can. Please take the time to complete our short survey here when you leave the webinar. We do want to try and improve the quality of these. We value your feedback. We want to use your feedback to improve future webinars. This was our third of 4 different training webinars on people transitioning to bulk mailer. Our last one is coming up in October. If you want to sign up for that one again, please feel free to do so. We will use the feedback from this to try and improve that webinar as well. And we went to this this method of showing, having Randy go through both products to kind of show you side-by-side comparisons. Hopefully you find that beneficial. And again, we appreciate your time, everyone. Have a great day, and thanks for being with us.